listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Yeah, those fellas. You can text us on 81215. That's 81215. Or you can follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. Or you can email us at the Absolute Radio website. www/
That's awful.
Just, you know.
For example, the text we've just received, do you give people's Christmas recipes?
Do you
Do you give people's Christmas recipes?
Do I
No.
People's Christmas recipes, do I give those?
Yeah.
Or do I give people
I don't
Christmas
know,
recipes?
but someone's just sent in a recipe suggestion for cookies, and the first thing is gluten, so that's me out.
I think maybe they've got the wrong, not just the wrong show, the wrong channel.
I
Wonder
think they may be on the wrong channel, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
Yeah.
I think
No, but thanks for that. You never know. I'm not saying I won't make them. I'm not saying that for a second. But I'm not sharing.
Oh no. I'm a bit tired this morning.
Why
Because
no
I was out on the I was out on the town with my posse.
Yes, you were. I had a lovely moment last night. I did a stand-up gig in Soho, in the heart of London, and at the end of it, my three colleagues, Daisy and the Cockerel and Emily, came in, and I didn't know they were in the thing, and it was lovely, and I felt love in the room.
I was convinced you knew we were there.
I haven't felt love in the room after a gig for many years now.
I was very impressed. You blew me away.
Yeah, well, like I say, I haven't done for many years. Let's not go into the praise areas. But
I know,
no,
I
it
won't
was lovely
praise
of you to
you.
come.
I won't praise you, but can I just say I was a bit disappointed, not at the standard of the comedy, which was top notch, but at the fact that I didn't get more of a showing. I thought maybe a light would be shone on me.
That would have been...
I
If
thought
I'd have
you'd at
known-
least mention my name.
I would have done, like when I saw Shirley Bassey at Wembley, and she said, ladies and gentlemen, Danny LaRue is in the audience tonight. And he stood up.
Amanda
And I said to my
me.
friend, I call him Danny LaRue de Chocolat. And he said, you know, times are changing. And I learnt a lot that night.
Yeah, but a man recognised me, Frank. I was in my seat, and he said, excuse me, do you mind if he needs to get past? He said, do you mind if I try and get past? I said, yeah, do you mind if I just cry for 10 minutes first? That's what I said.
Did you?
Yeah, you know what I'm like.
Okay.
So then he went to go past, and he said, great show, Emily. Oh, I loved it.
Oh,
He was handsome as well, so if you're listening, call me.
yes, let's not use this as a lonely heart.
I got nothing.
Well,
off
you
it.
say that, but someone is using it as Lonely Hearts.
Oh, okay.
Dear Frank, I attended your 16th November gig at the Soho Theatre and would like to leave my details in the possibility that the girl who sat next to me listens
thank
to the
goodness for
show and would like them. She had long dark hair and I wore black-rimmed glasses. We made brief small talk, but I'm too shy to respond. Is this a good plan? But life is too short to care.
This is like those romantic columns in magazines, isn't it? Like one scene on the tube.
Yeah.
This is nice. It's sweet.
And then he says, Frank said, which is advice you give in the show, which is expletive-laden. So we're just going to say Frank said to throw caution to the wind.
Yes. Oh, well, that's...
Yeah.
That's
wouldn't
from
it be... But
Stuart.
what if they got together and we had our first blind date wedding, so to speak? I could get a hat.
Yeah.
That'd be nice, wouldn't
I'd be
it?
so...
Dear Stalker, I see you in.
Dear Stalker, that's how I start my letters.
Yeah? Do you really? That's interesting. You know why that's interesting?
Why, Frank? I'm sure you're going to tell us.
Oh, I couldn't find it for a second. Terrible moment. I sat with my finger outreached like E.T. And then I saw it. I've
Right.
tried that for many a day.
What are we going to do about these Dalek napkins?
Oh,
Yeah, we should come back to the Dalek napkins. You've got to keep them clean somehow.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Now, we've had a text in. I think you're going to like it, Frank.
Okay.
This is from 603. Dear Frank, Emily and the Cockerel, if the three of you had a choice between the ability to regenerate I think we know where we're going here.
Are we going to meet the 8 who are going to regenerate?
Or the ability to time travel. Which would you choose? That's Ian in Leamington Spa. /603.
Okay. What are you thinking? You see, the thing is with regeneration...
As you save on surgery.
Yeah, that's true.
That's totally what I think.
But do you just get the 12 regenerations, which is the one that...
I don't know how much it is. I don't know whether the clinic offers that.
Well, that can last you a long time. I mean, without regenerations, there wouldn't be a 50th anniversary, obviously, because you couldn't have had one person playing Doctor Who.
But you could argue with time travel there might not be a 50th anniversary, eh?
You could argue that, but you know what? I'm not going to...
All right, fair enough.
Do you remember in Neighbours there was... I think they pioneered regeneration on the other side of the planet. Do you remember Lucy?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Lucy Robinson was like a little frail girl, and then one day she went out to get the newspaper, and when she came back in, she's quite this big teenager.
Yeah.
And
she's like Bill Beaumont.
And then she went, I think it was summer school, when she came back she was Melissa Bell, that's what she was called, quite a hot bird. So they
regenerated.
They just didn't make a big thing out of regeneration in Neighbours. You know, it's the sort of thing that you went off and did privately.
You just did it. Miss Ellie was a bit like that in Dallas as well. She regenerated a few times.
The thing is that there was never a programme called The Three Lucys in which the three of them met together in some sort of time warp and fought Time Lord Omega to try and get rid of this black hole.
We should say, some people may not know, Frank, that it is a special day.
Yes, it is the 50th anniversary. People must know that, 50th anniversary of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yes.
Today,
I didn't realise that he was so likely to be a reincarnation of JFK. I really didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's literally like the day after, isn't it?
It's a good point.
Yeah.
Has anybody done any essays on this? Has there been studies?
Not this morning.
Haven't had time. I've had a lot on.
Yeah.
Are they all going to be there then, or the ones that are still with us, all the doctors?
Are they all going to be in it?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of debate about that.
Is there?
I mean,
every time I talk about Doctor Who, Frank looks slightly disgusted because I display my lack of knowledge.
No, but yeah, there's all sorts of rumours about who's going to be in it and who isn't. It's absolutely hosh hosh, and it's a spoilers fest.
Is it?
So I'm not even going to speculate, I don't think, but I can't tell you how excited. And I'll probably tell you something I perhaps shouldn't tell you, but I'm going to see it.
Are you going to say
I'm going to see it. I know this is the most unprofessional thing they've ever done, but I'm seeing it tonight.
I don't know.
I'm going to see it at the BFI, which is a cinema on the South Bank. And the programme ends at 9:05, and I'm on stage at 15:15 on the other side of town.
Frank, that's awful.
But there is a long tradition of running in Doctor Who. That's one of the themes. So I think I should just sprint across town.
Are you going to be one of one of those sort of 1980s guys in your suit but with running shoes and just have your posh shoes at the theatre?
I could do the 10th Doctor thing. I could put I could put some casual plimsolls on, and wear the suit and tie. The thing is, I'll almost certainly be in tears as well, because I know it's going to be a really emotional thing.
I was going to say, I thought your gig was great.
But if I'm seen racing across town in the middle of the night in tears, I mean, people assume that the police have finally arrived, and I'm making a break for it. Oh dear! But I'm beyond excited.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Where were we? These fish fingers are cold. Can I just say that? I'm.
Well, you need to explain what this is, Frank.
I'm eating. We are eating when the others start. We're eating fish fingers dipped in custard as a celebration of the Doctor Who anniversary. This was the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith, when he first regenerated. This was the first food he found that he enjoyed.
This is the most upset I've ever been at having to eat food stuff.
Sandy was looking envious next door. I'm sure we can find some extras. You know, it's great. I've never tried it before.
Have you had it, Al?
Yeah.
It's lovely.
You know what it tastes like?
What?
Fish fingers and custard. That's what it tastes like.
It does
Those
taste
two
like.
things together.
But it does make you think that if the sea had a more custard-like nature that you could just eat stuff on the beach. You could just eat the fish straight out of it. What about that for
Why does he eat it in Doctor Who?
because he's trying to, he's hungry, but he can't find anything he likes. So, eventually, if you keep doing it, this is probably not great radio.
No.
But it doesn't seem to bother any of the other stations.
Some might say it wasn't great TV either.
Who would say that? I'm wiping my hands on a Dalek napkin.
Okay.
Right, what are we talking about? Oh, time travel as well.
Yeah, time travel.
So where would you go?
If I could time travel, well, I think we all know where I'd go.
Where would you go?
Tudor Britain. Obviously.
Oh, of course.
I would change the entire course of history as well. There'd be no dissolution.
Do you think Philip Schofield ever Tudor Britain?
Frank, but I could change history for the good, Frank. You'd like it.
Well, you got to be careful.
There'd be no dissolution of the monasteries.
Yeah, I don't think you're allowed to change it like that. That's one of the problems.
You're not allowed to change.
You can't go back and stop the Reformation.
If I can't change things, in the words of Deborah Meaden, I'm out. I'm sorry.
I obviously would head straight to Soviet Russia.
Would you?
Oh, such I love Soviet
You're
Russia.
like Gerard Depardieu,
I know
aren't you?
it gets a lot of bad press, Soviet Russia. But you know,
funny that.
the public PE lessons and the women with flowers.
Yeah.
So lovely.
Like the public PE lessons.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's great. That's what we need in this country. More public PE.
Don't we have that with people doing boot camps in parks? Isn't that the same thing?
How often do you see that?
It's quite a
Does that happen outside of London? You live in Manchester. Do you see people up there doing stuff in the park, exercising?
Well, I don't see them do it. I see it being advertised on, like, cork boards in shops and stuff.
No, cork boards. Those things on trees as well, when you can make nearly £200 a week.
Mm-hmm. So a bit of that.
I can see the cockerel, Frank. Bit of a medieval tavern owner.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't mind a bit of that. Would you like some mead?
I could see that. Some Deborah Mead.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Checking people out for getting all Falstaffian. I could do that, yeah.
Can I make it clear, I wouldn't actually go to the Kremlin when I was there. Never meet your heroes. What about the Wild West?
Oh, I thought that'd be up your street.
Yeah,
you'd be up for that, wouldn't you?
See, that was a time when America was a country where a lot of people carried firearms. Obviously, that's all changed.
It's all changed, yeah.
I'd worry about you in the Wild West.
It's a great leveller. Sorry?
I'd worry about you in the Wild West.
Why?
I don't know, you're a gentle soul. You can't walk into a saloon and go, "I'll bin ya." It doesn't really work like that.
No, but they weren't all sort of hard-bitten gunslingers. There must have been like the bloke who introduced the dancing girls and stuff and did a few gags.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But you're going to be an impresario in the Wild West.
Entertainer. That would have
I could wear armbands, those guys who
yeah.
Of course, there is also periods of history I could go to where I could wear armbands. But I'm on about those ones that hold your sleeves up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
that they always wear in the
elasticated metal.
You don't want your cuffs in the sarsaparilla. No, there's nothing worse than that. Yeah, one thing that I wouldn't want to do though, which is the problem, which I think they avoid brilliantly in Doctor Who, but every other time travel thing that's ever happened, someone says something like, the next thing we know, you'll be telling me that in the future people are going to fly around in giant silver birds. Respect to Doctor Who for not doing that.
Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
We're discussing time travel. And eating fish fingers and custard, which hats off to you for eating them even while the song was playing and you weren't doing it for entertainment value.
No, I think it's fine.
Yeah, it's all right. But time travel is easy.
I despise it.
Time travel is easy.
Did you actually try any?
Yeah. Awful.
Time travel is easy.
Time travel is easy in one direction, says Professor Brian Cox.
So if you're in one direction,
and he would know because he was in D-Ream, so he knows.
I think I've heard that mentioned.
Oh yeah,
that's
Can I say
Gary
that's the Gary Oldman sister?
It is. Yeah, that's the thing you have to say about Professor Brian Cox.
Yeah, unless you're my mum.
Also, Professor Brian Cox always has a smile Even in the
Yes.
serious bits, there's a smile always. One of those people who's got a
There's
perpetual.
playing on his lips. People somehow have a smile
Yeah.
playing on. Is he a Mancunian like yourself?
I'm not a Mancunian, but I believe he is.
Oh, I do apologise.
I don't
No
know how to
offence
answer that
caused.
question without contradicting you in some level.
So,
I
sorry
believe
for
he's
causing
from,
offence at this time.
I think he's from Bolton.
Oh, do you? Right.
Okay.
But
I
I
He
watched.
says-
It's easy.
I watched his
Yeah.
programme. He gave a lecture on the science of Doctor Who and whether it was.
Oh, yeah.
God, it
Did
was
he?
very extremely tedious.
He
It
says...
sounds it, but...
He says all you need to do is find a wormhole, and you're through.
Well, he
I've had
he
so
did a
many
big
nights.
drawing on the blackboard of why you can't, and he wanted to go to a lecture that Michael Faraday did in 1860. I lost you yet.
What, and you could be in Henry VIII's bedroom. Hello?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, this is what he wanted to do because he's a science person, you know. And so he did a lot of lines and drawings and talked very technically on the board. And basically, what he established was you couldn't do that because it had already happened. Well, I don't need a blackboard. I'm sorry, Brian. To work that out. I thought he was going to make. People keep telling me that he makes science very, accessible. I
yeah.
couldn't make head and a tail of 99% of the stuff he was saying.
Yeah.
Science, you know. I know it's cool and trendy, and I know we have a lot of listeners who love science, but oh blimey,
You like it with the fiction, don't you?
yeah, I like
you
mo-
your science
with the access on the fiction.
I remember the days when the geeks were bullied.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that was the halcyon days I look back to with great fondness. I'm just saying.
No, I don't want to go back to that.
No.
Those terrible times. But
But, let's not forget.
God. It was hard work. You know, and I love Doctor Who, and I was watching it and thinking, oh, shut up. I'll soon wipe the smile off you. No one could. I'm sure he's a brilliant bloke, don't get me wrong, and he's very popular and all that. I think there's enough disclaimers. Yeah, or more. And I respect his learning. But he doesn't have the Johnny Ball common touch where he can bring in someone like myself who's non-scientific by nature. If anyone can, call me.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
So I got the call this week. Obviously, terrible things have happened in the Philippines, but they had a telethon to raise money at BT Tower in London.
Right.
So I thought I'll do that thing of, I think that every celebrity now thinks I need to, do my bit.
Yes.
And also I might get some positive publicity as well as helping people. I think that's what every celebrity
And a
thinks.
very good cause, may I say, but may I say quite a 70s way of raising money, which I respect.
A telethon,
Yes.
yeah. I was actually answering phones, sitting next to two people in badly designed charity T-shirts and answering the phone. And they were very lovely, and they were BT volunteers.
And people ring up. I saw Adrian Charles this week, and he said he'd done it, and he said no one rung me.
Well, what happens is you're given a script, so you begin by saying, hello, I'm Frank Skinner, and thank you for calling the blah, blah, blah. But what happened quite a lot is I said, hello, I'm Frank Skinner, and they just put the phone down. And it wasn't quite the ego boost I was dreaming of there.
That really happened.
That happened maybe 40 times.
No.
And then I thank God, I spoke to the other people. There was all sorts of people doing it.
Yeah.
Faye Ripley was there.
Lovely.
And, Joe Wood. Do you know Joe Wood?
Ronnie. Oh, no, but thanks for the tip.
There you go. Yeah, Ronnie's ex and Sarah Alexander.
I remember watching
Jamie Oliver,
a telethon
Amanda
once,
Holden.
Frank, and I swear I forgot someone was smoking. This would have been in the late 70s. I remember seeing, as a child, I can remember it was like Marty Kane or Kenny Everett, those sort of people, and there were the ashtrays and people were smoking throughout.
There was just to go back very briefly to Doctor Who, there was a fantastic drama on this week about the making of the first thing.
Yeah.
And, you do forget that everybody smokes in TV studios and restaurants. We've forgotten already. It was brilliant.
Horrible.
So I went around and everyone was getting this put the phone down thing. And apparently what had happened, it was in the papers that One Direction were going to be answering the phone. So people were phoning up, young people, I assume, were phoning up to speak to them, and if it wasn't them, they put the phone down. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
Don't tell me any different. Yeah, so it was...
Nick Ross was there.
Nick Ross was sitting next to me.
Oh,
And now-
you didn't mention the incident.
No, well,
did
I
you?
remembered the incident.
Oh, God. The incident. Just to remind you quickly, when my parents split up, my
yes.
father went to stay with Nick Ross for a bit.
I didn't mention this.
No, as everyone does. That's what happens when your parents split up. You go and stay with Nick Ross. So we went round to have a look at the house because it was still amicable in a very 70s way. We dropped him off,
I remember that.
and the exact moment at which Nick Ross burst. I said burst. It was his house.
Yeah, exactly.
Walked into
Burst
the
his own house.
My mother was in his ensuite bathroom saying, and he was unattached at the time, she said, he's got a bidet, he's counting his chickens.
Oh, dear.
Nick Ross burst in, and I can't ever see Nick Ross in the same light.
Well,
You didn't mention the incident.
No, I didn't.
Good.
Obviously, I thought about it. I mean, I couldn't help picturing him on a bidet.
No.
But no, he was very nice, and in fact, we spoke about a bloke called Shaw Taylor.
Oh, what? Police 5?
Yeah, who
Wow.
it was. In case if you're youthful, there used to be a programme called Police 5, which was very short, and there was a man called Shaw Taylor, and he used to talk about crime. And at the end, he used to say, and remember, and he used to take his index finger from one eye to the other and then to his nose and go, keep 'em peeled. And I was always concerned that he'd included his nose in this, as if he was an avid sunbather or something. But it was funny, because I always used to laugh at this. It was hilarious, because they sort of built up the programme to, in the end... You used to see him arrive, Shaw Taylor, in like a trench coat, like he was a private detective, and he used to take the coat off and hang it up neck. And he had one of those, those boards that have like a sort of trellis work on where they put a card.
Yes.
He had one of those with his crimes he was investigating.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But Nick Ross spoke of him like he was, a pioneer of that kind of. Because he was the forerunner.
Yeah.
Of Nick Ross. Nick Ross worshipped at his altar. It was lovely to hear Shaw Taylor
Is he still
spoke
doing
of.
his crime programme?
Who?
Nick Ross?
Nick Ross is, I believe.
Oh, is he? Okay.
I think it's still quite popular.
Okay.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
I've had a text in from Adam. Frank, Shaw Taylor crashed into the back of my wife's car a few years ago on the Isle of Wight. He never kept them peeled that day.
No, he didn't.
Oh.
Is that right? How brilliant, though.
I can't verify if it's right. I don't know. It's just a text that
Well,
we've
we don't want to get sued by Shaw
Exactly,
Taylor. Imagine that. Actually, you know what? I do want to get sued by Shaw Taylor. I think it'd be worth it. It'd be worth the court appearance.
It
and
would
the
be the
cost.
most brilliantly 70s court case. I would
be
love it.
Fabulous to see. I just want to see what he looks like now, and I'm prepared to go to court to find out.
Yeah.
Short. I mean, who's called Shaw as well?
Yes, no one.
Oh, I know
I think that
a few
might be-
people with it as a surname, but that's...
Yes, I've heard of it before as a surname.
That doesn't count.
He said, who's called Shaw? I was just answering. I'm quite literal.
Okay.
I'm quite literal.
I think Taylor Swift's parents saw that and thought, oh, how weird to have a surname as a first name, and then thought, well, there's two can play this game. What about if we take his surname
Yeah.
and give it our daughter as her
Taylor
first name?
Swift was named after Shaw Taylor.
Oh, but named after him in malice. It was named after him to wind him up in a sort of, if you're going to have a surname for a first name, well, then we'll...
Shaw you. We'll Shaw you.
We'll show you.
Oh, lovely work, boys.
So I had to. There was a lot of press there, as you can imagine,
Oh,
at
yeah.
the telethon. So
Birmingham Echo.
I had to have. I had to
You and
have.
Adrian, yeah.
Adrian and Frank on the front page.
The worst thing was there was a lot of actors, there.
Oh,
Oh.
how
I
ghastly.
don't wanna
The
say
worst thing was there was a lot of actors
No,
as my
I-
autobiography title.
No, I don't mean there was anything. They were all lovely, but I don't like seeing a sort of former soap opera actor sitting staring at the telephone.
Oh,
Don't come into my bedroom then.
There's nothing more depressing. You could tell someone who'd bored a couple of holes in the telephone over the years from staring at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we had to have our photos taken for things, and the regular thing was to have your photo took on the phone.
Oh,
And,
really?
Ignoring the fact that everybody had hung up on everyone.
Yeah, so it was like, I think I never spoke of this, but football managers always used to
Yes.
have their publicity shot was them on the phone.
Yeah.
To say, yes, I am, I'm a sporting person, but I also do deal with admin.
Yeah.
And other important business. So there was lots of those photos.
And on a landline as well, Frank.
And Amanda Holden did one where she's on the phone but really laughing, so to look natural. And I thought, I don't know if this quite works with the
It's a bit
the
inappropriate.
nature of the job. Because they brought Pick and Mix round as well.
Oh, are they still working?
And what, the double act? Hello, I'm Pick. And there was a bit where they were taking publicity. I mean, bear in mind, obviously it's a majorly serious cause, and I'm in the background eating and a banana. Those Pick and Mix bananas, which are the biggest.
Oh, yeah, the bananas,
the biggest of the Pick and Mix.
Yeah.
And the only way to eat one of those, in my experience, is to put it in and then put a finger on the other end and press it through like a log going through a sawmill.
Yeah.
Press it through what?
Push it through your teeth, so you nibble it as it
Sort of
goes in.
munch through it.
So you just keep pushing it.
I don't have those gaps.
It sounds disgusting, but
You don't need the gap, you just keep eating.
Okay.
So it was, it was great. It was a great atmosphere of, all pulling together. But there was a lot of Pick and Mix.
Was there?
too much.
I wondered if that money couldn't have been,
More wisely spent.
yeah. But then, like, for example, like the Coke bottles, I can take them or leave them.
Oh, I like those.
But the milk bottles...
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Text us on 81215. I don't feel we've let you in today. We've been just talking. See if I can, anyway, text us. You can follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or you can email us through the Absolute Radio website through the email address. I'm calling it that.
Which I believe we were going to go to email corner.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Email corner.
What on earth are you doing?
I was using a banana to offer a percussive backbeat to that particular jingle. Sometimes I think they need a bit of a disco version, if you receive my meaning. Anyway.
Nice, I liked it.
Was gibt?
Dear Frank, Emily and the Cockerel, last week I heard Frank's observation regarding chestnuts' resemblance to brains.
Yes.
Yeah.
It looks like a human brain. Probably a lot of
tiny.
other brains as well.
And it reminded me that my husband told our daughter that they were mouse brains when he put them in a beef casserole. Fusion cooking.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
Were they very poor?
Chestnuts are not that cheap, are they?
I suppose not.
Unless they're horse chestnuts.
Oh,
So,
yeah, I
that's the
suppose.
question I should be asking.
She still refers to them as such.
Can I stop you? Can I just... there's a thought nagging at me now. I say the human brain. Do all brains look the same? Does a pig's brain look like a human brain?
good
Does
point.
a mouse brain look
Oh,
like a
yeah, I would
smaller-
have thought so.
Well, I thought you meant
really.
all humans.
I don't know if I would have thought so, is the way science works.
Should have gone to my school.
Perhaps we should get Brian Cox in to discuss
Brian
this.
Cox, that'd
next
be
week.
good. So, Brian, could time travel happen? Oh, well, I would have thought so. Okay, next. So anyway, he told
He told his daughter that they were mouse brains when he put them in a beef casserole. She still refers to them as such now, even though she's 18 and at university. Perhaps not a good one.
No.
She's doing
I'm
surgery.
Yeah, she's doing surgery. Oh, God.
Also, I like that that's her degree, surgery.
You do have a
Neuroscience.
degree in surgery. Yeah, I don't want to do the sort of general medical thing. I want to go straight in.
Surgery.
On
Just
the
want to
surgery.
start clean with surgery.
Yeah, God, we were doing... I removed an arm, week 3. I mean, they rush us along nowadays.
You'd be Dr. Christian Bernard by the end of term.
Yeah, we had some student volunteers come in to have limbs removed and then put back on.
She had. He also told her that twiglets were baby giraffes' legs. Tasty, actually. Snappy.
What sort
Yeah.
of gullible fool was she?
How
Oh,
small?
she was a child.
How small does she think a baby giraffe is now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I like
let me
it,
just
though.
finish this email because I have to.
No, but they've got like the knee joint in the middle,
Yes.
haven't they? Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
a nice bit of detail,
Yeah.
isn't it?
And
Yes.
and the sun damage.
Yeah, if you wanted to
Sun
make...
damage.
It's got sun damage twiglets,
if you
hasn't
wanted
it?
to make a small model of Alexa Chung, they would be perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, carry on.
Many people lie to their children to try to encourage them to eat their food, but he seemed to say things to put her off. Love the show, avid reader 021. Now, I have a similar lie that I was told by my Uncle Alan when I was a kid. He told me that dry roasted peanuts, you know, that sort of powdery outer coating,
Oh, yeah.
he told me that that was created by them allowing maggots to nibble at nuts, at normal nuts. They became dry roasted by having maggots sort of go burrow in.
I see.
And then presumably they were brushed off the said nuts and bagged
did that
up.
put you off then?
Didn't put me off, but I did. Even as a child, I remember thinking that seems logistically a long way about going around this
Yeah.
food stuff.
It's
Yeah.
good, though, that it didn't put you off. I'm sure that was the
Yeah.
intention, wasn't it?
It might have been,
And
yeah.
the cockerel said, "Oh, really? That's fascinating. Can you pass the bowl?"
How much are there?
Oh, dear. I'll tell you what I have noticed. That star fruit, from a certain angle,
yeah.
looks like a star.
I'm so
Wow.
relieved you said that.
Yeah.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So, yeah, we was on about food that looks like other stuff. Mm-hmm. I've always felt... Do you know those Fry's peppermint cream bars?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If you put one of those, if you strip it down, get the paper off,
All right.
put it on the desk.
Derobe it, you mean? Yeah.
What
Yeah.
what are you saying then?
It does look like a speed bump.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I've noticed I eat them a bit slower than I do on a chocolate bar.
Nice.
Almost like instinctively. I think, just take
Speed
it
bump.
take it easy. I might be near a school.
On a
Very
brown
clever,
street.
yeah. Very clever. And then when you finish that, do you feel so laid back you have to have a boost? Boost yourself back.
What I think is, I hope there's not a double decker coming the other way.
I don't like a boost. Can't get any purchase. Right, I'm on to
You know
email.
what? I'm going to be straight with you. I can't actually recall the constituent parts of a
It's
boost.
so hard.
It's quite firm in the middle, isn't
It's
it?
too firm.
With a toffee coating and then chocolate. It's quite
Oh,
it's quite a bit of work, isn't it?
It's hard on the
You wouldn't
teeth.
want to do it with a loose filling. That's the sort
No
of
offence, Frank.
confectionery.
what
it
would you
is.
want to do with a loose filling?
See a dentist?
Okay.
No offence, Frank, but I don't think your teeth could handle it.
Okay.
Oh, it's true.
You're probably right. They could
Halfway through a
crumble
boost,
at
you
any
just see
moment.
one in it.
No, you're right.
Okay.
Remember, several of my teeth were taken by explorers in the 19th century and are now in the British Museum.
I should tell
And,
you.
you know, I'm getting a campaign to get them back.
Are you?
I've asked Nana Muscuri.
I happen to love your teeth.
Thank you.
This is from Joe.
I
Frank.
love all of you.
This is from Joe.
Oh!
He says, "Hi, Frank," and let's say, "Oh, like you know him."
I know people called Joe. It could be one of them.
Joe Kinnear. Hi, Frank and the
There's no-
team.
I think you'll find there's no joke in here.
Hi, Frank and the team. Emily mentioned last week that she didn't enjoy eating burgers in front of people. This is
Did
correct.
you? I
Yeah.
don't remember that.
That's when I was discussing the...
Perhaps I was
getting
away.
shy about... No, it was shyness about certain foods. I eat a kebab alone quite
Yeah.
often.
You talking about eating alone?
God. What a fabulous opening to a novel.
That's not a depressing insight. I was saying I didn't like it because I felt feral, gnawing away at it. So
Yeah.
I mean I like to break it off delicately. Anyway, Joe says a Japanese burger company has a solution. The Liberation wrapper covers the lower part of your face when you go to take a bite. On the opposite side of the wrapper is a picture of a woman's face, making it appear to someone sitting opposite that you have a closed mouth. That's all well and good,
Blimey.
but how do I know the chin's going to fit? How do I know I like that mouth?
They're going to go for a nice mouth because they'll use one of them mouth models.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
one of them mouth.
They're not going to ask
models.
Big Mo. There's going to be some. Yeah. Well, you got to be careful you don't get David Coulthard.
Yeah.
Cherie
Or
Blair.
Brucey. I don't want Brucey. I do not want Brucey on my face.
But what an interesting idea that it actually covers your
Yeah.
eating bits. And,
Yes. Well, yeah.
They should. I tell you what,
They're a demure culture, aren't they?
It is quite demure, the facial expression on the Google image. I saw it.
I think if it's going to cover the face like that, they should call it the beef burger.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We were talking about a fabulous invention from Japan.
Yes.
Well, what's it called? The Liberation
The Liberation Wrapper.
Yeah.
Which I'd go and see him any night of the week.
Yeah. Of course, in China, he'd be a dissident that had been arrested. But
Yeah, he would.
Yeah. I love him.
In Japan, it's a modest way of consuming a burger.
Japanese women. I went to Japan for about a month.
I hated it.
Feel tense about the way this story could go.
No, they're very, very sensitive about their mouths. When they laugh, they often put their hands in front of their mouths. And I noticed that they've got there's quite a lot of orthodontic problems in Japan. A lot of no, but I mean, there's a lot of extra teeth, if you know what I mean.
They must have fitted right in.
Yeah. No, but they've got, whereas I've got not enough, everyone seems to have 3 or 4 too many. I wonder if there is, you know that person
the overcrowding issue?
Yeah, you know the people who squeeze people onto the underground trains in Japan? I wonder if they're doing the same with teeth. But yes, I think the Japanese generally are quite touchy about their mouths, certainly the females.
Oh, really?
So that's why the Liberation Wrapper. Of course, one of the problems is that they all make exactly the same timed appointment for the dentist.
That is part of the problem.
Yeah. Also, didn't beef burgers used to be called hamburgers? When did that change? Because people, whatever the meat is, they tend to call it beef burgers, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, it's more factually accurate, isn't it? So I prefer that.
Well, that's not, I don't know if that's true, but it was always hamburgers, wasn't it? I haven't made that up.
Yeah, because it was invented in Hamburg, wasn't it? It wasn't because it was
Is that
ham
right?
that was in it.
Oh, it wasn't. It was a ham. Is that right? Oh, I've had an idiotic
me
eureka.
too.
I thought it was beef
Do you know
burger,
what?
chicken burger,
When you said
hamburger.
that piece of information, I quite fancied you.
Thank you.
Because you knew, I love knowledge, I find it very sexy.
Can I say I don't know where to look now?
Frank feels exactly the same, but he don't articulate it for some reason.
No, that's correct.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Oh, no, you're pretty sure.
Now you have to backtrack.
That's like me and my science.
That's
Frank.
gone into my knowledge banks now.
Well,
Yeah.
See, again, not something that Brian Cox
I would have
doesn't
thought
do,
so.
is at the end says, I'm pretty sure anyway, that's all.
yeah, but
pretty
that's what makes me
confident.
more charming, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's more palatable, isn't it? Than saying,
You think
I'm definitely
Are you
know this.
officially stating that you're more charming than Professor Brian Cox?
According to my criteria of charm, yes.
I'd like to read your criteria of charm. I imagine it's a bit like the Communist Manifesto.
I have it here in a dossier,
a small volume.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
Lovely. So, what else?
We've had a text in saying, hi guys, in Japan they call the burger on its own a hamburg. It only becomes a hamburger when it's put on a bun. Just a bit of...
But is it from
factual
Hamburg?
I don't know. I thought it was. I thought it was invented in Hamburg.
Well, we've had a tweet from @BrainyChat.
Okay.
He sounds quite thorough.
He sounds
he sounds a lot more thorough than I would have thought so. He says Hamburg, New York, not Germany.
There's a place in New York called Hamburg.
Well, we're learning so much today, I don't know where to put myself.
No way.
He's @BrainyChat, he knows.
What are the chances of that happening?
Yeah.
I mean,
All right, Harry Hill. Adjust your collars. Get back to watching telly. Now, I'll tell you what we need to talk about. The word of the year. Do you know what it is? Did you read this?
Yes.
You know the OED
I know,
do it every...
I know.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I know what it is. I read it.
SWAT, check out the SWAT over there.
He's got his glasses on, that's why.
Yes.
What is it, Frank?
This year, OED, the Oxford English Dictionary, their word of the year is selfie.
I felt like I was on Call My Bluff for a minute there. That's correct. You're correct. There were other contenders, twerking.
Yes, that's been a biggie this year, certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And binge watch.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that until I read about it.
Well, this is what
I've
worries me.
certainly done it.
I don't... Yeah.
And this is what concerns is that last year's word of the year was omni-shambles.
Oh, yeah.
Did I sleep for a whole year? Did I not come to the show for a year and you thought, where's Frank gone? You realised the alarm, and I woke up on the same date and thought everything was fine.
Yeah.
Because I've never heard
I
omni-shambles.
mean, it was used, though, in a political context, wasn't
Was it?
It was,
Yes.
I think it was used in the popular television programme The Thick of It, and was then
Yes.
used in the Commons and
yes.
sort of...
I'm going to be absolutely straight with you now. I have never seen The Thick of It.
Right, well,
You better get watching.
I mean, I can put a word in and see if I can get you it on DVD from some of the people I know that made it.
Never mind that. I want to tune into Absolutely Straight. I love that radio station.
Yeah.
Not big on the dance tunes, though. Absolutely Straight.
No, that's the trouble. That's the trouble with
Bit
it.
prog rock.
If I did get you, if I did get you The Thick of It on DVD, you could end up binge watching. You could do that thing that is binge watching, where you watch a thing and then you start watching loads of episodes back to back. That's what they call it.
Oh, that's what binge watching
That's
is.
what they say.
No, I
it's
never-
binge watching.
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Okay.
I want to talk about
I love it
selfies.
when the sort of 6-year-old Emily suddenly rises up. Yes, well...
Before we do, can I just say, morning all, Alan is correct, the hamburger did originate from Hamburg in Germany. Oh, he then says, just wicked it. No, that's not fact, is it? No, get
Oh,
that.
no, I think people are very hard on Wikipedia. It's mainly fact.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that it's got a bit of there's a bit of a sizzle that it might not be. You know what I mean? Keeps you on your
Exactly.
Yeah.
on your toes.
I'm pretty sure.
I still remember the horror at saying to Faye Tozer, so I understand you're a big trampoline enthusiast. Well, I've been misled by Wikipedia. She looked genuinely, how dare you? I mean, it doesn't make you a bad person, does it? It was like, I'm sick of this trampoline thing that people keep bringing up.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We were discussing the word of the year.
Well, it was selfie.
Yes.
Did you see the papal selfie?
Well, the papal selfie, which was Pope Francis, was unusual as selfies go, in that he wasn't taking the photograph.
Wasn't he, though? He looked a bit like, you know when you have a boy band and there's one that can genuinely sing?
Yeah.
I'm not being rude, but that's what he looked like. So there was 3 very good-looking young Italian men with him.
Yes.
But how do you know he wasn't taking it?
I think you could see the other... What wasn't the other person? He was in a selfie
Yeah.
that someone else was taking.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
Does
that
that
still
still
qualifies as
Still
a
call it a
selfie.
selfie.
Does it? Even if
think so.
don't you have to be on your own in a selfie?
Well, Alan and I, for example, the Cockerel and I took a number of selfies of us, didn't I, last night?
Yes.
so they're selfies if it's not just
Yeah.
yourself.
I
I think
said-
it's if the person in the photograph is taking it. I think it's one of that. That's how it qualifies.
If
Yeah.
you...
So if one of the number in the picture is present, then I think it's a selfie. I
Yeah.
think. But I don't know these rules. I'm just reading the words that are in the paper.
Okay.
Like selfie.
What else can you do in this to try and get a grasp on the world?
I'm just reading the words in the paper. Imagine if Jeremy Paxman said that.
I mean, I honestly
terrible.
thought that the OED would go with the word of the year being Descartes, but apparently not.
I would have gone YOLO.
YOLO.
YOLO should have... I got
Is
the
that this year,
Oh,
though? Or
actually,
did we
it might
just...
have been last
Did it
year.
reach us this year?
Are you suggesting that because the Deputy High Commissioner of Sri Lanka is now familiar with it, it's no longer cool?
No, definitely not. I think that
Okay.
gives it added status.
Okay.
I liked Kim
uh,
Kardashian's selfie this year. That was a good one, wasn't it? And then she
Oh,
got engaged, so
God.
selfies work. She
Okay.
tweeted a picture of herself, didn't she? And we talked about it.
Yeah, we did.
I don't
Yeah,
remember
it's
that.
the one where she looked like a sexy Borat. And, and then
Do you mean
you
there's a
know,
non-sexy boy?
and then a week later she got engaged.
Oh,
So
well.
you know, you do the math, as they say.
Otherwise, she could have ended up as a Shelfie.
Yeah, exactly.
That's maybe what people
she
who
already
don't,
was, to be
people who
honest.
don't remain single should call themselves Shelfies.
I love that.
It's quite a nice way, isn't it? It's better than, you know,
Shelfie's excellent.
better than loser. Yeah, yeah, he's a nice guy. He's a Shelfie, but, you know.
Yeah.
I was also thinking, you know, when you do a radio show like this and you get, like Daisy and Charlie laugh at some of the jokes.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes people
Well,
think...
sometimes.
They think, well, there's pressure on them, I bet, you know, to do that. I think you could call that staffter,
Staffter.
because they're staff.
Yes, I like
And the
that.
pressure to laugh. There you go. You can write that down.
Absolute Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I've got some verification, and one of the few texts that we've ever had that addresses us as studio. A hamburger is from Hamburg, a Frankfurter is from Frankfurt, and a Berliner is a donut. So when JFK addressed the citizens of West Berlin and declared Ich bin ein Berliner as the proudest thing anyone could say, he got a massive cheer. I am a donut. That's essentially what he was saying.
I don't know if I should have read that out on this, the 50th anniversary. That somehow he's likening himself to a thing with a hole in it.
In
That
short,
just seems wrong.
in short, the cockerel is right. Paul in Solihull.
You're right.
I thought I was right. I mean, I didn't want to...
I honestly thought ham, hamburger, beef, beef burger, chicken burger.
Yeah.
No.
You can see how I arrived at that.
I can see how you
conclusion.
got there, yeah, but...
Now, what about this? We've had a text in, and the subject line, I think you're going to enjoy it, is John Wayne commemorative limited edition wristwatch.
My kind of
That's
gift.
got you written all over it.
Yes.
I've looked up...
But it's got John Wayne written all over it.
Well, it has. Unfortunately, I don't want to worry, but the website is called 50 Plus. I'm sorry.
You know, that could be the cost.
It is, yeah, it's 50 grand at a time.
It's
What's it look like? What's the face like?
It's John Wayne's face.
Oh, it's John Wayne's
Yeah,
face.
and it's 15 notes.
Is that all?
Yeah,
Well, I'm getting
1
one.
5.
I'm
But
getting,
what-
actually, I
Frank,
might get 2, 1 for each
was
wrist.
$26.99, now 15.
Oh man, I'm
That is a
going to
result.
also get 2 for my ankles.
That is a result.
That's brilliant. And the hands, are they like 6 guns going round in
No,
extended?
they're just regular hands,
Okay,
love.
fine.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, you always have to
Yeah. Aim higher.
reach too far. Yeah. I've overreached.
816 has texted us. The best thing about the selfie is judging the subject on the peripheral. Now, I hope I don't mispronounce this, but I say detritus. Some people say detritus. I say
detritus.
a lot of people do. I say
I
detritus.
said detritus.
Oh, well, I'm wrong.
Oh, let's call the whole thing rubbish.
Strewn clothes and pot noodle pots are favourites of mine.
Yes.
I
In the
love.
background
I
of-
love a poorly decorated wall too. Good day, noodle.
Although
I
one
do.
famous selfie this year had the Prime Minister having a nap in the background.
It
He
did,
was
didn't
part
it?
of the detritus. How often is he in the
Yeah, but
detritus?
that was. I mean, that wasn't a selfie. Again, if it's got someone else in it,
No, it was his sister
Why have
who
you
was
suddenly
taking a
become the
selfie
selfie,
of
please?
herself.
I am the. I think it's the word of the year. We need to take care of it, not let it become abused. You know, remember what happened to Omni Shambles? No, I don't. Fancy actually discovering it when it becomes word of the year. It's awful. We've got, on the subject of background stuff, we've got Bunting up today. Doctor Who themed Bunting.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, including K9 is up there.
Yeah.
Oh, Frank got so excited about this anniversary. I worry it's been a bit of a damp squib, to be honest.
No, it hasn't even barely started yet. What about tonight? What about when I'm at the BFI in 3D?
You're going to be there in 3D.
I'm going to be there in 3D. I find I travel mainly in 3D
I was going to
nowadays.
say, you're here
Oh,
in 3D.
we've got a bit of criticism. Would you like to hear it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but
right,
I've got to go
so-
to... Shall we save it? I
Yeah.
love cliffhanger criticism.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Why not text the show on 8 12 15 or follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. Or you can email us on the Absolute Radio website, www.absoluteradio.co.uk/Frank Skinner.
Do you remember earlier I'd said we'd had some...
Do I remember earlier? It's quite a big question. I do and I don't.
Well, we'd had a borderline abusive email.
Really?
Yeah, which I thought I should read out. It's not really abusive. He's just sharing an experience with us of the
Okay.
show. 933. Hello, Frank. Your adverts state that texting you would be a better experience than merely listening to your show. Thus,
Do they?
I commence... Well, apparently so.
Okay.
Thus, I commence this missive with high expectations, yet, as I come to the end of the text, I reflect upon what has been a curiously hollow experience.
Fair enough. I think he's talking about the actual experience of texting the show.
Yeah,
It's what we do with it, isn't it?
yeah.
Like in this
So,
case, we've just sort of read it out, and then we'll move on.
Should we move on?
No, I think it's... I didn't know that was our... is that our slogan? Texting us is even better than just listening.
Yeah.
I like it because it makes me feel like I'm a bit red button.
Yes. You are a bit red button.
I am a bit.
Frank, you're so red button.
I am.
It's interesting that you chose to read that.
You're so red button, you don't even know it! Was that what they say?
I think it is, yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting you chose to read that missive out rather than the text we've just had in saying, Emily, beautiful as always, and then one of those smiley faces. What's it? An emoticon?
We can't read aesthetic praise.
I've read it.
I'm all right. I'm all right with
you?
people telling you you're beautiful.
What if it's that young lad from last night?
Was there a young lad?
Yeah, the one I was a bit rude to, who liked the show. Yeah, anyway.
Well, what about if you were our first blind date marriage?
Yeah, that could work.
With a listener. I'd love that.
There isn't enough of that.
I'd love to marry. I'd love to marry a listener. I'd like to put that out there.
do that?
I believe on BRMB in Birmingham,
He married a listener.
They got a couple to get married for a sort of a phone-in thing. So they got married like for a prank. And everyone said it was incredibly bad taste. And then I think they got divorced, and Jeremy Cole married the woman.
I hope you didn't get aggressive at the ceremony. Look, mate, are you an alcoholic?
I hope he didn't lie. I hope he didn't lie on the aisle. You know, sometimes he lies. Sort of, he's couchant.
Sort of lounges around.
I like my Kyle rampant. I don't like him couchant. Yeah, but if I've made up that story from Jeremy Kyle's thing, I shall see him. I shall see him in court. Who else is suing me?
Everyone.
Who was suing me earlier in the show?
Entire nation.
Oh, Shaw Taylor, of course. Yeah, there's a queue. I'm actually stacking at the law courts.
I like the fact the things that we've had self-doubt on today are my hamburger fact and your Jeremy Kyle fact. That says a lot about us.
I think that's right.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
Say Charlie has just arrived with coffee, and I know she's wearing a hat, so it's a weird amalgam.
Yeah.
In that it's woolen, but the actual bobble on it is fur. Is it fake fur?
Yes.
It's real fur.
Yes, it's fake fur.
Okay.
No,
Is
it's
it?
fake.
No,
It's definitely fake. I've just felt it. It's definitely fake. And it's lovely.
Okay, thank God for that. I thought I was going to have to cut your bobble off. Cut your bobble off, of course, is my Russian butler.
He sounds good.
Ivan cut your bobble off. Yeah, he is. He's very. He talks about the old days quite a lot. Yeah, all those cornfields and ballet in the evenings.
Guess what? Cockerell's finished his. Finished doing his acting, Frank.
Yeah,
I believe he came in.
Like
he had his scarf.
Like his mum has been doing his acting.
He said, "We've wrapped."
I had my golden wrap. That's what they call it.
Why do they call it golden?
What is a
I think
golden
it's just
wrap?
like your
Sounds quite fattening.
Yeah.
I'm already worried for my thigh gap.
Yeah, aren't you?
It's all gone a bit wonka.
What is a golden wrap?
I think it's your last day on the set. Like
that wasn't what I had in the 90s.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Paul Flowers thing. Yeah, it's like they say, and that's the golden wrap for Alan. So everybody kind of went like that and gave me a little cheer, and then somebody from props.
Is that what they do?
Fired little party poppers and stuff.
Oh, lovely.
It was nice. It was nice. It was
almost like that someone had thought you were never ever coming back for this production.
Yeah, I wonder if the second series I've mysteriously moved away from the area.
Regular listeners will know that the Cockerell gave the team a bit of a lecture.
Did I?
About being a professional comedian and knowing what's funny.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, that team. Oh,
yeah.
Right. I thought you meant this team.
Not this team. Oh, yeah. You could try. But yeah, so
I must admit,
was there a tear in your eye? Be honest.
Yeah, but there was also maybe I've got a paranoia, but there were two things that have made me slightly paranoid about it. The producer and the director both wrote a nice card, and both of them said, "Hope you enjoyed it," as if to say, "You could have let your face know it."
With you underlined.
Oh, yeah.
No, they didn't underline.
And then that makes...
But they both put, "I hope you enjoyed it," as if I hadn't revealed that I'd enjoyed it during the process. You're
not a big one at revealing your enjoyment.
Well, crucially, they didn't say we enjoyed it either.
Well, I've got... no, I think they did. They said, "We enjoyed working with you," but they said, "I hope you enjoyed it too," as if... but I've got that dour face thing going on. And over and above that, I did film the whole thing behind a Liberation wrapper. I was eating... I was eating burgers constantly.
I remember when you first told me that, I wondered if that was a good idea, but I didn't want to. I didn't want
Just
to
hope
butt in.
it's not going to cost me further work.
Did you do lots of hugging then?
Well, yes. There was a point where, you know that thing where you're sort of shaking hands with people that you've worked with for a while,
Yeah.
and then somebody throws their arms open for a hug.
That's
and
always
from
me.
that moment on, it all has to be hugs, doesn't it? Because you can't then
Yeah.
go back to and a handshake. So I was then trapped in this, like, I'm going to have to hug everyone that's now in front, but the people behind, some of them I like better than the people I'm about to hug, and I only handshook with them.
And when they look back, they'll think,
Yeah.
I only got a handshake.
Yeah,
Do
so
you
I
know
felt
what-
a bit paranoid about it. And I know that I must have hugged somebody who's a bit body conscious and doesn't like being hugged. You know, one of
Yeah.
those people like, don't hug me. But I had
Yeah.
to then. I was locked in.
Yeah.
You have to, don't you? You can't undo.
Well, I don't know when.
Like when Frank worked with Lauren Harris.
Yes, exactly. We were in a hog for, what, 40 minutes?
True.
Yeah. He was all right. I could feel every individual disc on his spine. I sort of worked my way down.
Emily's gone. She's...
Yeah, it was.
He was wearing evening wear. He likes evening wear.
It was a
Lauren Harris.
backless dress, and one of those sombreros with a clasp at the front, which took me about 20 minutes to.
But the rumours about
Anyway.
you two are completely unfounded, we should
No,
say.
he's, people say, but, you wait till you meet him in the flesh, her in the flesh, and you,
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
we were talking about the Cockerel's emotional farewell from his sitcom.
It shook hands
we
with people.
were talking about how people can't tell if I'm enjoying something or not, more accurately. And I remember when I was at drama school...
Pity your poor wife.
The head of acting told me that my natural insouciance may cost me some work because people think
That's
I'm not
such a head of
bothered
acting
about-
thing to say, isn't
was
it?
he
Yeah.
ever right?
Yeah, well, yeah, he was so right. He's still working in a college.
Oh, Cockerel! Oh.
Blimey. It's like working with Ben Davis. I'll tell you, he's really changed since he's done this sitcom.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
now
I
I've
find when I
finished,
say goodbye
just
to
gonna stare at the
people,
phone.
I don't know what your style is, Frank. You're quite showbiz, aren't you? You're quite Mr. Saturday Night.
Well, I have to say, when I finished Room 101, it was a
How
bit...
did you- how
it
was
a
that?
Well, I'm off
Your,
then.
your habit is to reject their gift, isn't it? That's the,
Yeah.
Did you
thing
say,
you
well, I'm
do
off
year
then
on
with your
year.
rucksack?
I said, right, I'm off. And they said, okay. I said, right, all the best. And I went.
End of my 5-year
No,
relationship.
There was no hugs.
no handshakes, nothing.
Do you know what I say? I've got a little trickster. And you might want to bear this in mind for your future work. When I did, for example, I did that thing with Russell Kane in Edinburgh this summer, saying goodbye to everyone. I do a little thing, I make them all feel special. So I hug them all, and I do a bit of a Dorothy. I say, I miss you most of all, Scarecrow.
Oh,
So I miss you most of all. But then
lovely.
then they hear you've said it to everyone. I said it to Russell and I said it to the camera one.
Oh, like when Bruce Forsyth says, "You're my favourite."
Yeah,
I
that's
love
exactly
that. I
what it's
love it.
like. Yeah.
I did take in chocolates. I wasn't a monster about it. I
Did
took
you?
Yeah, I took in big boxes of chocolates and said, "These are for you
I
guys."
kissed the runner, I think, when I left 101.
Yeah, but that was Lauren Harris.
Yeah.
Is this
I
a
kissed-
song
to
you're
be
launching
fair.
into?
I think I kissed the runner when I left the bobsleigh team. No, I kissed the runner. I kissed the runner and I liked it. Of course, what I'm worried about with the Cockerel, as I've said many times, is now that he's returned,
Oh, yeah.
having had that taste of glory,
Yeah.
How you gonna keep them down on the farm? Let's see, Harry. How you gonna keep them away from Broadway jazz and around? Hey, town.
that's the problem, isn't it? This must seem pretty dull.
Yeah. Is it?
Don't put yourselves down. Let's just work through
I
it.
mean, all that stuff about them dressing up on Fridays.
Oh
and-
yeah, they got dressed up
Oh,
on
they
Fridays.
didn't.
That was lovely.
What?
Yeah.
Lofty.
Really, really playful. They had
Well-
daft days.
You know what happens on tour stays on tour?
Yeah.
Do you know what? Don't take this the wrong way,
Oh,
but do. No, I hate it. When I remember an ex-boyfriend I was going out with, and he said, "Do you want to come to the rap party?" And I said no, and he said, "Why?" I said, "I'm not being rude, but it is going to be." "Oh, do you remember when the makeup artist tripped over the cable? It was hilarious." That's what I don't like. I don't like on-set tales.
Yeah, see, a lot of it is me taking the producer to one side and saying, "Who is that I'm talking to?"
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
I want to talk about this burglary. Did you hear about this woman? She's the most polite victim of crime that ever lived. She, the burglars came in, they robbed her home, and she wrote a thank you letter to them. Did you see it?
Yeah, was it politeness there?
Oh, I think it
It was
was.
sarcasm.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit sarky.
Bit sarky.
Well, there you see, we've got a different spin on it, because I just thought she was very nice and well brought up. What she said was
I
next
think that's
time...
part of an upbringing, that you write a thank you letter to anybody that burgles
We
you.
thank you. We thank everyone.
Really?
Yeah. She said, there's no need to come in again unless you'd like to take my collection of VHS videos and cassettes.
That's
I like-
sarcasm.
No, but I like the
Yeah.
fact that she called them VHS videos and cassettes.
Yes, well.
Come
I've got to
on.
point out, even the charity shops don't take them anymore. Someone told me that they tried to drop them off and the charity shops went, we don't want them, we can't get rid of them.
Yeah.
Is that right?
You have to just put them in a bin, I believe.
Really?
Or recycling or something.
That seems...
No one will have them.
There must be some sort of use that they could be put to.
You could
me
stick
think
them on the
about it.
wall for soundproofing.
What about if
instead of
if one brought back? Do you remember those sort of those ribboned doors that used to be in chip
yeah.
shops?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
between
and
the-
certain houses you'd get them going through to the larder.
yeah. Could you not cut the tapes into ribbon doors for your interior doors?
and then
Yeah.
give a
When I say
ribbon
your
door to-
interior doors, I mean in your house, obviously.
Yeah,
yeah,
of course.
you could then give them to everybody in the street, and you'd still have tapes left because there's loads of tape inside of video, isn't there?
Oh yeah,
Quite
there
a lot.
is.
You could get quite a lot out of
No,
3
I agree.
videos, I should think.
I agree.
She was in London. She was going to watch Strictly Come Dancing live.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and she lives in Northampton, doesn't
She does. Oh, the clown.
Yes, I'm thinking that Northampton is to comedy nowadays what Liverpool used to be to pop music, because they got this woman and a sarky letter. I
Yeah.
still think it's sarky.
Yeah, me too.
And because I was on the One show recently, and they had an article about burglary, and when it came back, I said, I think you can just gun them down now, can't you? There seemed to be some
You didn't
anxiety.
say that.
Yes.
You didn't say that on the One Show.
Well, I
What
said
is
it.
wrong with you?
It was a slight exaggeration, but I'm sure that Kenneth Clark said that you're allowed to defend your own property. now.
Yes.
And I find that that's more. It seems extreme, but it's more effective than satire. Don't you think? But anyway, the Northampton clown, yeah, and now this woman with her wacky letters. I read a nice quote from. I think he's been identified.
The clown? He never asked me out. I was embarrassing.
No, he's
I gave him an open offer.
He's a student, I think, so he might be.
Oh.
Dare I say it?
Oh,
A bit young.
Too old for you.
nope.
Okay.
You can say it, but you'd be incorrect.
Okay. But there was a nice quote from the Northampton clown. He was tracked down by local press or something. He denied it, and then he fessed up, and they asked him. He said, people seem to enjoy it, but it gets a bit hard sometimes with the death threats.
No.
Now that's... I mean, I can see why that would be a downer.
Yeah.
But why? Who are the people that make death threats to the Northampton clown?
Yeah.
Why?
Weirdos.
Yeah, exactly.
Weirdos.
I feel bad about it.
Saddos.
Oh, Frank, you were talking about teeth, women being a little bit, demure about their teeth and their mouths in Japan. Carol says in Japanese culture it's considered rude and unnatural for women to open their mouths wide in public places.
Is that right?
So there's actually nothing to do with the quality of their teeth.
Okay, well, what I've done is I've imposed my own observations, and I hope I haven't in any way denigrated the people of Japan, who I love very much. What about that?
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
I have an email here. I don't know if you're interested in it. Sashay.
Well, we'll soon find out.
Sashay into email corner.
Do you want a jingle, or shall we just...
It's your thing.
Haven't we done it already this morning?
We have, yeah.
Okay.
Email corner, doo-wop, doo-wah, doo-wah. Sort of Sinatra-esque. It's my swing.
Gonna
You
say
know when your
it's,
career's going a bit low, you do a swing album.
Oh.
Yeah,
The hair weave's taken well, Robbie Williams.
I've read it. Well, lots of people. I think Westlife did one as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
Did they?
Robbie Williams.
Sounded quite like Harry Connick Jr. I thought maybe you'd interviewed
Well, I
him
think
in the week.
his
and got
career
him
has
to-
been one.
Yeah.
Dear Frank Lecoq and Miss Emily, you were talking about embarrassing clothes in the last podcast, and it reminded me of a traumatic period of my youth. When I was about 8, my mum, for some unexplained reason, decided to make my white PE shorts out of toweling instead of buying a normal pair. Imagine my shame of having to do PE in what my classmates quite justifiably referred to as a nappy. When I complained, she just said, "Oh, don't be so blimmin' silly, it's toweling," as if that somehow made things all right. She refused to change them, and after months of ridicule, I think I just lost them on purpose. All the best from Santander, Colombia, Justin Kirkham.
But that's it's actually quite practical. I never really thought of it.
To be honest, I'd wear those over the summer.
When you say practical...
Well, you're sort of drying yourself off as you exercise. It's the sort of opposite of self-basting.
Yeah.
I don't know why we don't wear more toweling things now they come to mention it.
I think it keeps the dampness in, though, doesn't it?
Does it? Well, why, when you see Andy Murray with a towel round his neck, he's taking the dampness out, isn't he?
Yeah, but then he's not keeping the towel on his neck while he plays the next game of tennis, is he? He's just...
Also, Justin...
turn him inside out at half-time.
Be grateful for small mercies. You got to wear white PE shorts. We had to wear brown pants.
Did you?
Really?
In my school, brown nylon pants.
I was of an age where the girls wore navy blue pants for PE.
Right.
But toweling, I might actually get rid of all my clothes and just replace them with toweling garments.
Yeah.
What about if you just wore toweling?
All the time?
Yeah, that was it. That was your thing. Even the shoes, Mum. Obviously not the soles, but the uppers.
You look like Mr. Soft.
You could just wear those hotel slippers. They're basically toweling.
I'd like if everything had to be toweling, so if you wore, like, a proper suit, dinner jacket, it had to be toweling.
But what is toweling?
Toweling tuxedo.
Is it tiny loops?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I need to look into the manufacturer before I make any big decisions on this.
Get yourself in the loop, yeah.
Could be the way forward, though, toweling.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Can I suggest large bath towel plus clothes peg equals toweling cloak? That's from 163.
Yeah. I think we've all used the towel as a cloak, haven't we, around the bathroom?
Well, I use it as a turban, often.
Oh, I think that looks great.
Do you like
girls.
that?
Yeah, I
good.
love the toweling.
Come over.
You see, toweling, we do use it.
Yeah.
I come to think of it, I use it as a sarong around the house.
And does anybody ever say sarong trousers, grommet?
Does anyone ever say that? Let me check my journal. No.
I doubt you need to.
No, it's all right. You're okay. I think it's better to have bad things to wear at school than very good things. There was the school fat boy at our school. He had a pair.
That's just his name, is it?
No, but in those days, you only had like really two fat kids in a school. It was the allocation was much stricter. It was like schoolboys in a newsagent. You know that kind of theory.
Yeah.
I think this is before the obesity thing. So they became celebrities in their own right. And he had a pair of Adidas Santiagos, which were like top end.
Yes,
he was
lovely.
awful at football, as you can imagine. And he got a lot of stick for having, really good boots and being rubbish.
Really?
So it's better to have the towel shorts and to have the tools and not the ability to use them. That's my advice.
Oh, you're right, Frank.
For any kids who are listening out there.
It's a sage lesson here on Absolute Radio.
Thank you.
Well, he had the posh trainers, the overindulgent parents.
Yeah.
Have we got time for an email, Frank?
Yeah.
Frank, on the subject of food constructions, which we were talking about last week with your curry, weren't we, Frank? You used to have all the time.
Oh, yes, I always put... I did the Vesta rice curry.
Serving suggestion.
Yeah, so it's rice in a circle, sauce in the middle. That's how I do it.
So, on the subject of food constructions, when my children were younger and I was serving sausage and mash, I would build an island of mash in the middle of the plate, hollow out the centre and fill it with gravy representing a volcano full of lava.
I like it.
Beans encircle the volcano, represent hot lumps of lava which had erupted for the volcano and were cooling in the sea. Sausages sliced in half lengthways made good boats, or uncut as whales or submarines.
Wow.
Florets of broccoli were fashioned into small forests on the slopes of the volcano. Eating mash from the top of the volcano causes the gravy lava to breach the crater and flow down towards the sea, often taking some broccoli trees with it. That's from John.
That's fantastic. And what you could have
serves it up, it's cold.
But on the lower slopes, you could have some discarded baby giraffe legs.
Oh, yeah.
Where they'd been ripped off in the torrent.
And salt and pepper, flotsam and jetsam. Love it.
There's lava. I'll tell you what, we'll talk about this next week. What about that for a cliffhanger? And you know what? If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Thank you for listening. Can I say, enjoy the show tonight. It's 7:50 on BBC One and at cinemas and stuff, and it's going to be... My stomach is going all tingly just thinking about it. Oh, goodness. Now get out.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.